Hey everyone, welcome to Unbearable 73's review of Sharpe's Siege, which is season 4, episode 2 of the TV show Sharpe. That is based, as you on the screen, we'll go over some stats about the story. I'll give a general summary, then I'll get into my thoughts. So, uh, the Sharpe novel series by Bonaparte Cornwell. It's been about 2 months, I think, or a month and a half since I did the last review. Uh, this is about it's their novel. In other words, it's technically like the third, six, nine, around the 11th movie of the TV show series, but I believe that they skipped some books, so I think it's further than the novel series. It was written in '87 by Bernard Cornwell, and the novel takes place in 1813 in Napoleonic Wars. Wellington's forces have uh, gained basically triumphed in Spain, or about to and try to begin to push into France against Napoleon. And this novel and movie deal with some of the machinations going on with the intelligence work and the field work to try to gain advantage before you push in with your main army, right? Where the last movie dealt with trying to raise like more troops for the fight. So that was like Sharpe's Legion, whatever it was called. Anyway, um, so his general summary: uh, the main villain of the piece, right, of this novel, the Comte de Macaire. He's a French nobleman. He comes to Bordeaux. He comes to Wellington in the border in Spain, and says, "Look, the people in this Bordeaux region, where I'm the Comte of, or one of the Comtes of, is will rise in rebellion against Napoleon. They want to restore the old French government, and all." And Wellington's intelligence guy, General Ross, doesn't believe him. Uh, Wellington trusts the guy, so Ross decides he's gonna, because his spies haven't reported no distinct in the region. You can read along with me, right? And they want to send a pro brigade in, and to take a local garrison, basically. Now Wellington's forced to put a young, inexperienced Colonel Horace Bampfield, who is the son of a general that Wellington, whose political and economic reaches Wellington needs, in charge of the expedition, instead of Major Sharpe. Sharpe's reluctant to go. He's just gotten married, and she has a deadly fever, and there's a shortage of quinine. Okay, that's the kind of the setup for the novel. Now, just to briefly mention quinine. So this isn't. They are not yet at the modern quinine we would have, which is extracted chemical. So quinine was discovered among the Southern American Indians. I want to say Peru or Argentina down there, from a tree bark, and they discovered the medicinal values of it, and then maybe in the late 1500s, early 1600s, they learned to sort of make like a brew from the bark, so to speak, and that's kind of what they when they say quinine, that's what they're talking about now. Okay, it was in, I believe, the 1840s that the first actual chemical extract of pure quinine was made, and that's when it became more than modern medicine than it was. I'm not quibbling, but just so you understand the state of medicine, when you hear, "Oh, just give them quinine, the malaria should go away," uh, this is not a modern medicine. This is a board. This is basically an effective herbal routine that they're doing. Yeah. And so back then, fevers like this, which you just take some antibiotics or whatever for now and be cured of, were deadly. And so that's to say, this disease is running rampant throughout the countryside, affecting both the armies and like anything back then, they would weaponize it. They would spread that disease around. So I'll have a link to the Wikipedia page for quinine in the ongoing accumulated text below, because it's an interesting read, the history of a medicine like that. So that's the situation that we get set up with. Basically, they're not spoiling it too much, because obviously this tells you everything that happens. Sharpe is the de facto leader of the men. Blanfield and his couple of crony officers are the sort of in name only leaders. You know, and yeah, I have to spoil it, but to explain what happens. But basically, Blanfield is stupid and becomes a traitor, and they take the garrison. Under Sharpe's leadership, they take the garrison, drive the French out. But then Major Ducos, who was working with the Comte, convinced Blanfield basically to burn the ammunition and just retreat, leaving Sharpe to die. Sharpe and his small garrison had a small amount of ammunition. The French general comes along, says to him, if you surrender, we'll let everyone else go if Sharpe stays and surrenders. The men basically say, screw that, we'll live and die together. And then now here's where the Quinine comes in. Sometimes this subplot, and this is blatant praise for this one. So the fever has been an ongoing subplot. And at first you're thinking it's just a matter because Sharpe's wife is sick, as well as the Comte's mother is sick, and it's about the Sharpe's morality and such, because he comes across in Quinine that he could save and send back to his wife, but he does the right thing and helps the dying woman that was with him, right? And he has to trust that his wife, that the military will get his wife the resources they need, because that's, and because he does that, the daughter, who is also the Comte's sister, tells him about the oyster, a way that they could possibly fight the French off, which is to take, because the castle, how do I phrase it? Because there's oyster shells in the cellar, if you grind them up, oyster shells are mostly lime, and you spread that in a cloud across the incoming French troops, they'll go blind, and you can make your ammunition more effective. I know I'm overly simplifying it, but and I know I'm spoiling it or whatever. But I want to talk about some of the stuff that have in it more. This is a full spoiler review if you have by now. Now, so that's kind of what happens in the film, right? So let's get now. My one criticism of all these Sharpe movies has been that there are scenes they've cut out or were in the script that were never filmed, which have to be occurring to get you from point A to point B. Like there really should be a point A, point 5 or something, But it hasn't really detracted from it, because you kind of could infer that the events happen. But it is the first movie first of the Sharpe series where that wasn't the case. Where there was one or two minor scenes like that, but for the most part, this thing had almost every scene you need to see visually in it, right? So that's the general setup. That's my opinion, my one ongoing criticism and modification, right? Let's hide the VLC, add the VLC, and hide the Brave. Now this one does not have subtitles, unfortunately. So this is Major Ducos coming in, the French intelligence expert who's been, waging a war of intelligence. There's Ross, who's the Wellington intelligence guy, and they're trying to plot their way through this. Sharpe comes along and saves Ross. Sharpe. Now, why this would be Ross in the field would take Sharpe and some of his men with him, because Sharpe's men are elite scouts, so that's why this would happen. Look at the nice posing here. I have this in Blu-ray, which is at 1080. But I wish they would do a remaster so you could see the colors pop a little better. That being said, it's still beautiful film work. Look at the naturescape behind there. So that's the French commander, Henry Chalvet, if I remember correctly. And he's in command of a very inexperienced legion. He's behind the scenes, so to speak. And you get the sense from the French officers that they know the war is not going well. Oh, we do got the subtitles. Okay, go ahead. Okay, one ongoing sort of the comedy subroutine was Harper's fear of the dentist, which back then was legit fear because there was no anesthesia. It was basically raw pain, you know. Yeah, so the actor who plays Wellington, let me find his name for you. Uh, where is it? Hugh Fraser, who is still alive, 78 years old, and he's really good. He was in The Duelist, and which was he was kind of a background character, but he's been in a lot of stuff. You've seen his face around. Edge of Darkness was a TV miniseries. He was in Patriot Games as Jeffrey Watkins. You remember him? His face if you saw it. He's had a good career in a lot of stuff that you like, and he's a really good character actor. So he plays his character very well. So they're discussing the fact that this is the Comte. They're discussing the fact that the Comte says Bordeaux region is ripe for rebellion, but Ross is saying no, they're not. None of us support that, and they're discussing it clearly to the guy's face. There's no hiding it. They're saying, "Look, we think you're BSing," and so forth. This is a pretty good scene. I wish I could play it for you. This is okay. So this is a cool scene. So Sharpe. That's his wife. I believe they just got married, and he's an officer taking an officer to the mint, and he has an encounter with Blamfield. And Blamfield is a inexperienced jerk. The Comte, of course, is doing the political crap. So what Sharpe brought up is that in the presence of ladies, officers should act like gentlemen, which is appropriate. There's actually military discipline in this particular case if the officers were to act inappropriate around the women in this particular setting. So this guy, he's one of Sharpe's. The guy with the eye patch is one of Sharpe's loyalists, and he's setting this Blamfield up to get his comeuppance. He knows Blamfield is going to sort of take umbrage at Sharpe being officer who came from the ranks and do something stupid, and he wants Sharpe will put him in his place. So this is where Blamfield has challenged Sharpe to a duel, right? Even though Wellington has, and this is where Blamfield is learning that Sharpe is a stone cold killer who is a favorite of the Prince of Wales. Okay, he has a favor of literally the next king of your country. Mind you, the Prince of Wales becomes one of the worst kings ever because he's a moron. But again, I wish I could play this whole scene for you. This is one of the best. Like if I name the 5 best scenes in the movie, it's this dining room scene is perfect. It captures Sharpe's the fact that his character has this profound history of military violence and discipline and loyalty, and this sort of moron, uppity, full of himself, noble with no without a clue. Basically, will mess with more than you could do. Yeah. Now, the Comte here, he is trying to use this to weasel his way into Sharpe's good graces by and seeing a man of reason and all that. So that's why this scene is so great. Sharpe is onto this guy from the beginning. Okay, he's not trusted at all, but he's a master political maneuverer. So he thinks he's gonna get like the benefit out from Sharpe by sort of interceding here, which is pretty cool acting. Yeah, this is such a great scene. Of course, a ubiquitous love scene. Just where they get married. And we still have the dentist situation. And this is where Sharpe finds out his wife has been helping out the doctor with the sick people, and which means she could potentially become infected. Again, they develop this infection plot. You never feel that it's like when it does turn out like in past episodes of Sharpe, right? Some of the subplots they were cool subplots, but they didn't necessarily tie directly back into the main storyline. This quinine infection part, not only did it tie back to the main storyline, but they made you feel that it was important because they tie it to Sharpe emotional state, as part of his character, his individual character arc. And kept it totally hidden from you. The help the bit at the end. So this is some master writing, acting, and directing here. Now we'll go on the march, standard sort of stuff for the show, which is good. You see how the uniforms are dirty. Sometimes with these military shows, they don't adequately and properly dirty up the uniforms. Like this is road dirt. In other words, that's what settled on from the march. It's not that they were in battle, but you can see how there's clean parts and dirty parts. So they're like walking through clouds of dirt, basically. And the camping scenes. There's a lot of great stuff in here. So this is some officer conferencing going on. So one thing they do here, I told you, I mentioned Blandfield's a traitor and becomes a traitor. They do sympathize his character a bit in the middle of this to make you think he could have, if he had just made some better decisions at the end, he could have been become a decent officer under Sharpe's guidance. That's what they kind of lead you, but not everything works out, and his character's fall into darkness is it's part of the story arc. And that, by the way, is one of the great things about Sharpe. It not everything always works out perfectly for the good guys. They win, but they still have to suffer along the way. So this is the setting up of the spying. That's the Comte being a bad guy. And this is when Sharpe's men. So Sharpe's men were sent on a scouting mission, and the colonel led the men to take the keep, which is part of the Comte's plan to get them all killed. But Sharpe comes and eventually take control of the place. And the comedy bit with the dentist. Yeah, it's all well done. The infiltration, the taking of the keep, and then of course Sharpe's men gets on a scouting mission again. This allows the Comte to manipulate Blandfield. Yeah. And this is when they come back and find out that horrible things have happened at the base. The arrival of the French troops and all that. Yeah, so I'm not going to... And the other great scene here, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. It's in here. The final battle in here is what I'm getting at. This is really well staged. Yeah, they basically march forward and stuff like that, you know, right into cannon fire and gunfire. That's just the way it was back then. Yeah. So this was the whole setup of the plan was well done. You know, so yeah. And this is, of course, the comeuppance at the end. Yeah, so like I said, I don't want to spoil the events. I've obviously told you what happened in the thing. The important thing to understand, you know, again, I want to keep this a nice little 25 minutes or less. Watch it to experience it. It's very great, very great. This is the best episode since I believe the second or third episode of in terms of how it's all put together. The battle scenes, especially the final one, are really well done. There's a couple of great character scenes, especially at the dinner. I enjoyed that a lot. And one other scene. The how Sharpe's men infiltrated the castle was really well. It was, like I said, they used another subplot which I mentioned. Won't tell you which one. You think that's just a background like subplot or whatever, but they actually tie it into the story. So everything they showed you in the episode wasn't just character development over. Every subplot tied into the episode. That's why this is probably the best episode of the series ever, in my opinion. It's like a 9.5 out of 10 type of thing. You know. In any case, that's my review of Sharpe, Season 4, Episode 2. I will hopefully have the Season 4, Episode 3 up within a week or so. My next up, I do want to do the next episode of Hornblower before I do that, but we'll see. Anyway, my name is Matt. This has been Unbearable 17 reviewing Sharpe Siege. Have a great day. Comment down below if you have comments or questions. Like if you like, dislike if you dislike, share it out. Well, thank you all. Bye-bye.